Okay, so in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to make a Latin top loop from scratch using Latin rhythms and Latin inspired loops. So obviously that's one of the main purposes of Fusion, to help you with this style of music. So let's lay down a simple 4x4 kick. So I'm going to go to kick loops. I'm going to pick this one, and we're going to work with 4 bars for now. So I'm just going to add a drum sampler, so a drum rack. And I'm going to pick some one shots, and I'm going to show you the most common Latin rhythm, which you'll find in all over Latin tech house and similar styles of music, even Afro house as well. So let's pick that one, and I need a clap sound as well. And so when you're making a Latin top loop, there's a rhythm which is consistent across all of this style of music, and it sounds something like this. I'm going to try and get it right first time. And that is the foundational bounce to your rhythm. You would immediately recognize that if you've been listening to this style of music. So let's put it as an Afro hit instead and see how this sounds. And that should immediately sound familiar to you. We can layer that with some claps and add a few extra hits here and there to add some dynamics as well. I'm just going to turn down the clap because it's a bit too loud. And I want to just add a basic hat loop as well. In fact, let's just add a shaker. So we'll use one of these. We'll use this one. And this is just a very common pattern again. I have to have an open hat or a shaker on this beat, this beat, this beat, and this beat. I'm just going to move that into the center of the stereo because it's a bit panned to the left. So let's just listen to this on its own. And there's a couple of things that I want to do to this to make it more interesting. So if we listen to some of these top loops that have already been created. So you'd immediately recognize that pattern. But if you notice, there's a layer of there's another layer of instrumentation going on in the background. So what I love to do here is just go into, say, for example, salsa, and look through the stems. And I want to pick instruments that complement this groove. So this is just an experimentation phase. So that instantly sounds quite good to my ears. I'll add in this as a fill. And let's just listen to this without the kick. And I'll take one from Cumbia as well. These bell sounds are really good quality, so let's hear this. So this will be the whole top loop. too much. Let's try this. That sounds much better to me. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. So you start off with the foundational rhythm. Let's listen to this with a slightly different set of instruments. So we're going to move it to the clave. We're going to get rid of the clap so you can hear it more clearly. That sounds really cool, but I prefer the first one. And let's just add a tiny clap fill at the end of this second bar here. So let's listen to this. So hopefully this shows you in a really simple way how you can construct Latin top loops from scratch. Obviously, you don't always need this foundational rhythm here. So let's take this out and listen to it without those samples. So you can actually just layer different percussion elements, and as long as there's the remnants or the essence of, say, a salsa or a cumbia groove, then it will sound like a Latin top loop. So we can also look at these in this folder. There's a ton of loops here as well. So let's swap out let's swap out the conga for a bongo loop instead. That sounds really awesome to me. So let's bring back in these samples, turn them down a bit. Sounds really cool. And if we don't like this timbal fill, we've obviously got tons of other fills here, so we can swap it out for a djembe fill. Let's have a look at this one. I like the last bit of that. Sounds really cool. Or we can just use another timbal fill. We can pitch it down. Let's hear this. This sounds really good to me. And let's add a hat loop just to complete the groove. And there we have it. We've made a Latin top loop from scratch. And this is how all of the top loops in this folder were made. So if you listen carefully to any of these, that's just a whistle one shot with a tape echo groove. That's just a shaker on every offbeat, as we said, with the train shaker. And it's layered with some percussion from these two folders. So it sounds a lot more complicated than it actually is. And this is just a Censero bell, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, layered with a conga loop. So they're all made in relatively similar ways. Now, the other way that you can go about creating these is if we remove the one shots and we have some Latin influence, so we keep the two Latin loops and we add a world percussion loop, so something like this. These work quite well in creating Latin top loops as well. That sounds really cool. And we can bring in this and just experiment and see if it works as well. So it seems to be working. Remember, this foundational rhythm works really well with a ton of different Latin styles, a ton of different styles of loops, a ton of different percussion. It's just such a easy beat to use. This one. Bring in the kick, and we'll try one more world percussion loop. In fact, let's try a Latin percussion loop. This one, make sure it's the right BPM. And there you have a really professional sounding Latin tech top loop. So hopefully this all made sense. Remember the foundational rhythm that I taught you at the beginning of the lesson. Layer it with Afro-Latin grooves, percussion loops, and you can add in shakers and world percussion loops and cinematic Latin percussion loops, and also fills at the end of the second bar and the fourth bar to add interest. And this will give you a really professional sounding groove. So hopefully that all made sense, and I'll see you in the next lesson.